At number 10, we have KITSUNE. Now, this one has also been associated with Gumiho from Korean legends or Hulijing from Chinese legends. It is a creature that appears as a fox with shape-shifting abilities, and it's commonly a trickster. In the Korean legends, a Gumiho can freely transform into many things, but most commonly into beautiful women. These Gumiho in female form then set out to seduce boys and eat either their liver or their heart depending on the legend. Both KITSUNE and Gumiho have also been recorded as far creepier as well. Some have been recorded to be bloodthirsty half-human half-fox hybrids that lurk in cemeteries. They would wait until night and then dig human hearts out from graves and eat them. At number 9, we have La Cegua. Now this one comes from a Costa Rican legend, and it originated as a device to scare men into being loyal and stay close to home at night. Men would be charmed by La Cegua's beauty as they wander home. She would appear out of a fog with porcelain skin, long black hair, and big dark eyes. Men would just forget about their wives and ask if she needed to be escorted home. They would turn again to look at her beauty, and she had changed. Once they finished their offer, La Cegua would be completely transformed. They would look and she would have turned from beauty to a nightmare, appearing as a monster with a horse's head. She would have flaming red eyes and big yellow teeth. She was rumored to make men go insane and sometimes didn't let them leave with their life. At number 8, we have a lycanthrope, aka werewolf. Lycanthrope? You tell me. But let's just say I'm not talking about the big bad wolf. But let's be real, he had a pretty convincing moment as the grandmother, and is he a shapeshifter? But let's be real, I'm talking about werewolves. While they are not fully pretending to be human, they come up often enough and it would be wrong not to include them on this list. Werewolves are frequently depicted in folklore and often come up as creatures that wreak havoc on the natural world. They are seen as creatures unable to stop themselves from transforming into a bloodthirsty wolvish beast. They got this curse in some lore as a punishment from God, a kind of divine smite against those who provoked their wrath. Other ways of becoming a werewolf or shape-shifting was by wearing an animal skin or drinking water out of the footprint of an animal. Just a little sip and then boom, wolf. I kind of want to try it. Maybe. On to number 7, a SELKIE. When you think of a water-sea human hybrid, a mermaid might be what comes to your mind. But they are permanently caught in between. They have a human top half and a fishy lower half, but SELKIEs, on the other hand, they can truly roam the land and sea. SELKIEs are commonly found in Northern European mythology. Their main form is the seal form, and in order to shapeshift into human form, they need to shed their seal skin. Now, this is risky for SELKIEs because it is rumored that they need their own original seal skin to return to their seal form. But once they're in human form, they have also been known to lure humans into the sea. They seduce people and create illusions to form a false sense of reality, leading the humans into their death out in the sea. At number 6, ENCANTADO. Now this legend comes from the Amazon. The ENCANTADO are said to be a water cryptid that lives in the Amazon River. Most of the time they are a pink river dolphin, but once a year they come out of the river. They shapeshift into a young man in white clothes for a Brazilian celebration in June. The one thing that doesn't change in their form is the blowhole from the dolphin form, so the ENCANTADO have to wear a hat to keep their disguise intact. Allegedly, it is dangerous to see or be near the ENCANTADO at these festivals. This is because they attend the parties in order to seduce, kidnap, or impregnate young women. Just like other stories like these are thought to be a way to convince young women not to trust handsome strangers because they may just be a pink dolphin in disguise. ENCANTADO, a pink dolphin in disguise. On to number 5, Rakshasa. The Rakshasa is a humanoid being in Hindu mythology. It was also later incorporated into Buddhism. Now, the Rakshasa were created by the breath of Brahma, the creator god in Hinduism, when he was asleep. They apparently were so bloodthirsty they started eating Brahma himself. So Vishnu came to his aid and banished the Rakshasa to earth. They were most often depicted as ugly, fierce-looking, and enormous creatures. They were shown with 2 fangs protruding upwards and having sharp, claw-like fingernails. They are mean, growl like beasts, and have an insatiable desire to eat man, all of the way to the point that they can even smell the scent of human flesh. Some of the more ferocious Rakshasa were shown with flaming red eyes and hair, drinking blood with their palms or from a human skull. Most Rakshasa had magical powers of illusion called Maya, which enabled them to change size at will and assume the form of any creature. Using this, they could disguise themselves as a human. At number 4, the Napura bee. The Napura bee is a ghost that looks human but has no face. They can often feign having human facial features, but can wipe them off like wiping off a chalkboard. An old tale about them called The Napura Bee in the Koi Pond goes like this. A lazy fisherman decided to fish in the imperial koi ponds near the Heian-kyo Palace. Despite being warned by his wife about the pond being sacred and near a graveyard, the fisherman went anyways. On his way to the pond, he is warned by another fisherman not to go there, but he again ignores the warning. Once he's at the spot, he is met by a beautiful young woman who pleads with him not to fish in the pond. He then ignores her, and to his horror, she wipes off her face. Rushing home to hide, he is confronted by what seems to be his wife, who then chastises him for his wickedness before wiping off her facial features as well. Just full on like, Cause like just imagine you're chatting someone up and they give you just one of these and just is going like, but like the face is gone. But on to number 3. Ghoul. The ghoul from Arabic folklore is said to lurk around uninhabited places like cemeteries. It lures people to deserted locations or abandoned places to kill and devour them. It is said to prey on young children, drink blood, steal coins, and eat the dead as well. This may be why the lore says they lurk around cemeteries, since they're trying to eat the dead. Now, after eating their prey, they are said to take on the form of the person they most recently ate. Other tales of the ghoul say it dwells in the desert and can assume the guise of a hyena. Using this form, it is said to lure people into the desert wastes. In the vampire book, The Encyclopedia of the Undead, a ghoul is said to roam throughout the wilderness of Afghanistan and Iran. Number 2. Doppelganger. So there are also superstitions that claim the doppelganger is a non-human entity which can alter its physical appearance to literally become someone else and take their place. Obviously, they are not human beings, but they look just like the person they are trying to mimic. In old lore, it was said that the doppelganger consumed the original person once they looked the exact same and met them. The stories of doppelgangers were used to explain early and misunderstood cases of Alzheimer's. Also, they were used as an answer to severe depression or violent thoughts of mothers. The latter was being used as a justification since it was believed that no mother could ever hurt her own child unless she wasn't truly the mother, just someone else entirely. All in all, the thought of someone in your life being replaced by an entity which only pretends to know you and care about you is pretty creepy. And last but not least, at number 1, the devil. So the devil and demons have believed the best way to get humans to sin is to be among their ranks. Essentially, peer pressure. So to do this, devils and demons will assume human form. They can either possess a human or disguise themselves as one. Old folklore says they could easily be spotted, and they often forgot to hide some of their more prominent features. Features like horns on their head or forked tongues. The devil himself apparently forgot to hide his hooved feet quite a bit. Now, once devils and demons are found out, they usually disappear, but not always. If the human target doesn't renounce them but instead chooses to make a deal, there could be consequences.
At number 10, we have the Body Snatchers, an alien plant that invades Earth from space and only has one goal: to take over the planet, consume all the life, and then leave the planet dead as a doornail as the creature moves on to its next victim. The first time this monstrosity showed its face was in the book Body Snatchers in 1955. Since then, it has been transported to the silver screen again and again and again, with the most recent adaptation being in 2007 with the Nicole Kidman movie Invasion. The Body Snatchers are a plant from outer space. They release spores that infect people and put them into a deep sleep state. While they sleep, a duplicate is created that is in complete control of the Body Snatchers. The original is then disposed of, never to be seen again. The duplicate looks identical to the original in every way, right down to the scars. But the Body Snatchers have no connection to human emotion, which makes them a much deadlier enemy. They operate as a hive mind to take over an entire planet. It's safe to say by the time you find out the infection is real, it is too late. At number 9, we have the Terminator. Arnold baby, I'll be back. You are terminated. Hasta la vista baby. These are all amazing lines that were born from the amazing movie series starring one of the greatest villains of all time, a nearly unstoppable machine from the future to change the course of history, known as the Terminator. Now, is the Terminator a monster? Of course he is. He's scary, he's dangerous, and he murders without any feeling. That's a monster. This killing machine for sure fits into this list. For those of you who don't know the Terminator, he is a robot sent from the future with one mission: to kill people from the past so he can ensure the success of Skynet, which is the company who will make the artificial intelligence that develops the mind of the Terminator. There are several series of this bad boy. You got the classic T-800, who is the Terminator we all know and love. There is the T-1000, who is made up of a living metal like mercury, who added out to kill you and can take the form of any person it encounters, duplicating their features and their voice. In the most recent Terminator movie, there's an alternate future which creates the Rev 9, the most advanced Terminator that the series series has ever seen. It's half skeletal Terminator and the other half is like liquid Terminator, able to split both halves into two separate weapons. It can hack the internet, duplicating anyone. Basically, if this thing comes to kill you, you're done for. At number 7 we have the SKRULL, one of the greatest villains of the Marvel universe. The SKRULL are an alien race that have the ability to shapeshift into other humanoids. They are masters of invasion and will take over entire planets with Skrulls, mimicking high-ranking officials by stealing their memories and moving into their lives completely. Some people will be married to a Skrull, even have children with them, and never know. Skrulls can also mimic superheroes' powers. They will usually kidnap the people they replicate so they don't have the other version running around trying to blow their cover. One of the greatest Skrulls ever, Super Skrull, has taken more than one power at a time, the entire Fantastic Four, into one body. At number 6 we have Dracula. I mean, I don't really need to go into a deep breakdown onto who this guy is. He is the king of the vampires. He is the OG. He's been blending in with people and killing them since before it was cool. His powers have changed over again and again throughout time, but here are some of the more popular ones. He has super strength, super speed, and agility, the ability to seduce and hypnotize people through eye contact. He can turn into a horde of bats and fly into the darkness. And of course his weaknesses are sunlight, a wooden stake, and sometimes crosses. And he has a constant need to drink human blood. The legend of Dracula originally comes from the Romanian ruler Vlad the Impaler. He was known for his brutality. He would leave the bodies of impaled men outside his castle to scare off invading armies, and it said that he would dip his bread in the blood of his victims. At number 5 we have Replicants, a questionable villain from the movie Blade Runner. Replicants are human-like slaves that are grown in a lab for service purposes. They are all given expiry dates and they are supposed to serve one purpose and that's it, which is usually some hard labor. Some of them go rogue and then are taken down by Blade Runners, who are basically cops who hunt down replicants. The only way you can tell the difference between a real person and a replicant is through the Kampf test. This one is questionable because replicants only rebel because they want to live, but they also kill a bunch of people in the process, so it's kind of a gray area. At number 4 we have Martian Manhunter, one of the greats to come out of the DC universe. Martian Manhunter is one of the most powerful heroes to work with the Justice League in the never-ending battle against evil. Now anyone who knows the character knows that he's a hero and probably shouldn't be on a list of scary monsters, but let me just break him down for a minute and give you my reasons why. Let's get into his powers first. He has super strength, flight, shapeshifting, telekinesis, mind reading, intangibility, durability, regeneration, extrasensory input, and in some instances heat vision. He is by far one of the most powerful creatures in the DC universe, with Superman once saying, "I can count on one hand the number of known beings in the universe that I would be afraid to face in combat." And John Johns, the Martian Manhunter, is at the top of the list. Superman said he's afraid of this dude. That means he's someone to be feared. If he was ever to go rogue, it could be the end of the world as we know it. At number 3 we have She-Mantis. In the television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we see all sorts of strange supernatural creatures that always have new ways of trying to kill the protagonist and her friends. Now in the episode Teacher's Pet, we saw the writers take the teacher seducing the student fantasy and turn it on its head. One of the main characters, Xander, has a new teacher and she is a bombshell, Miss Natalia French, and she starts to pull him in with her sultry ways. I have to admit, if I was in this position, I would fall for the same thing. Throughout the episode we see her seduce him more and more. Xander is totally into it, while Buffy and the rest of the gang is a little suspicious. Eventually Miss French invites Xander over so they can work on a school project. He arrives there and just as things are about to get hot and heavy, she drugs him and then drags him into the basement, ties him up, and it's revealed that she's actually a giant praying mantis that has the ability to shapeshift into a human. Now she has Xander as her prisoner and she's going to use him as food and a tool to reproduce. Luckily Buffy and the rest of the crew come to save the day. Xander is saved but probably will never trust a woman again. At number 2 we have reptilian shapeshifters. This is the conspiracy theory that popped off before all conspiracy theories were mainstream. They were the brainchild of author and former sports broadcaster David Icke. Now they sound like something that would be pulled out of a science fiction novel, but Icke insists that they are real. He claims that reptilian shapeshifters called Anunnaki have been in control of mankind for centuries and are embedded in every high-level power on the planet. He makes claims that the entire royal family is reptilian pretending to be a person, and they want nothing more than to eat our bodies and watch us suffer. He says that they've orchestrated all major disasters in the world, and he has claimed that he's seen glimpses of them transform in person. The Anunnaki are the backbone of every shadow government like the Illuminati and all the other ones, and they continue to control the world and manipulate humanity unless someone does something about it. I'm gonna pass on unveiling this one and just sit on my couch eating ice cream. That's what I'm gonna do. And for the number 1 spot we have Zeus. Wait, what? Why would you put the Greek god of the skies on a list of monsters pretending to be humans? Well, for one, Zeus has transformed into a person before, mostly to try and seduce women, and he's actually a monster. Just because he lives up in the clouds doesn't mean he's a nice guy, like he's a monster inside his soul. Let's break down some of the horrible things that Zeus has done. He has always been a fan of incest, which isn't super weird among the gods, but still not very cool. He once killed his wife so he could marry another lady who was the goddess Hera, and then once he was married to Hera, he cheated on her all the time. He once turned into a swan and then raped a lady, and on top of all that, he sentenced the Titan Prometheus to have his liver eaten out by an eagle every day for eternity. Prometheus is immortal, so it'd regenerate and then it would come eat his liver out again. This is all because Prometheus gave fire to people, because he was a good dude. Literally, an eagle flies down every day to eat the guy's liver, and the next day it regenerates and it starts again. And on top of that, he's the one who gave Pandora's box to Pandora so she opened it and unleashed all the evil in the world. But Zeus is the one who gave Pandora an unrelenting need of curiosity, so he knew she would open the box and unleash evil in the world. So, pretty bad dude.